So we're going to start right on April 29th. And I like to
Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is the Kennewick Board of Education regular meeting for September 26, 2023. New Jersey Public Meetings Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies in which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provision of the Act, the Kennewick Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published in the Spring Trends on January 22nd, 2023, posted in the Kennewick Public Library, filed with the clerk, and posted on the district website. This team leads home board, please.
Mr. Eisenbanger?
Here.
Mrs. Leonard?
Here.
Mr. Myers?
Here.
Mrs. Perrella?
Here.
Mrs. Portman?
Here.
Mr. Petroselli?
Here.
And Mrs. Donaldson?
Here. Okay, there was no, can you guys hear me without this? Okay.
Yes.
That's closed session was not needed. Can we please stand for the pledge
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Routine matters, we have approval of the minutes for the August 22nd, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Can I have a
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Anyone? No? Ms. Keen, will you hold the board, please?
Mr. Petroselli?
Yes.
Mrs. Portman?
Yes.
Mrs. Perrella?
Yes.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Eisenbanger?
Yes.
And Mrs. Donaldson?
Yes. Mr. Mango?
That quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so, thank you, Mrs. President. I'm gonna ask before, and welcome everybody. I know we have a packed house and I promise we won't be too long-winded so we can get to the main reason why a majority of you are here tonight. That is under my report. But before we do, I would like to, have maybe one of our board members make a motion, go out of order to accept Ms. Garg as our, Sarah Garg as our new
Yes.
student representative.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second. All in favor? Okay. Motion to approve Ms. Sarah Goddard as our student representative.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to the board. Thank you.
Welcome, Sarah. Student representative, so now it's you for the school year, goes first. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, and then we'll run through my report.
Well, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Sarah, and I'm a junior at KHS. So I guess I'll just start with the update. So from Kiel Cisco, she mentions that they've had an exciting start to the 2023-2024 school year with a full day kindergarten and having all kindergartners attend school together in Kiel. They celebrated our school-wide Dot Day on Friday, September 15th, which encourages creativity, courage, and collaboration in all people. Dot Day is inspired by the beloved children's story, The Dot, by Peter Runz. Additionally, they held our annual back-to-school night this past Thursday, September 26th, and we certainly had a full house. Thank you to every Kiel Cisco family for all your support. Additionally, they are looking forward to celebrating Pizza Cat Day in Kiel Cisco this Friday, September 29th. This is a tradition that we are beginning for the first time this year as a fun way to inspire love of reading among our students with a special guest appearance by Pete the Cat himself. Additionally, we will also celebrate the Week of Respect next week, the first week of October. We are excited to partner with Stony Brook in planning for a day of wellness and SEL for both staff and students on Monday, October 9th. Next, from Stony Brook, the 2023-2024 staff is off to a great start. Thank you to our staff, students, and families for a great opening to the school year. Mrs. Utel met with all the students in grade level meetings on the first day of school to welcome everyone back and to share information about the upcoming school year. Stony Brook has 4 new staff members, Mrs. Zogbeg, Mrs. Radovanovich, sorry for mispronouncing, Mrs. Lutz, and our school nurse, Mrs. Newman. Back to school night was a huge success. Thank you to all our families that attended. Additionally, Stony Brook is looking forward to celebrating the Week of Respect beginning on October 2nd with activities planned for the entire week. October 9th will be a day of wellness and SEL for both our students and staff. We are excited to have our students and staff participate in collaborative team building activities. At PRM, we are looking forward to back to school night on Thursday, September 28th. Mr. Mongan and Mr. Buser met with all students through classroom meetings to share important information and answer any questions they had as we began the school year. The fall sports season is underway, and we wish all the best to the PRM boys and girls soccer team and the cross country team. We thank our students, staff, and PRM families for a great start to the school year. And finally, at KHS. KHS hosted the West Point parachute team at our September 14th home football game. 6 parachuters jumped into the game and put on a great show for everyone. The KHS student body is very excited to participate in Powder Puff football game on October 12th. KHS will host an open house for prospective students and parents on October 5th at 7 p.m. And lastly, the PSAT will be administered during the school day on October 11th to all students in grades 10 and 11. This year, the PSAT will be digital. Thank you so much.
It's a great job. Great job, Sarah. Welcome. Mom and Dad. I gave a promise tonight that I would roll through my stuff real quick to get to the end, and then Mrs. Thomas, so what we'll do is we'll take a break between me and Mrs. Thomas, but just by raising hands, how many folks are here for a very special person? Representing? That's what I thought. Okay, so I promise this will not be painful, but actually having this many people in the room, it's pretty good. We can become informed to some of the ideas and philosophies and moves that the district is making. So it's just easier sometimes to put things out there as opposed to them just me speaking. So under my report for tonight, just an update on current facility projects. In this very room on the Sunday of Labor Day weekend, I received a phone call about 1 o'clock in the afternoon from Mrs. Alawale, who's here, Kiel principal, that yet again, the roof was leaking. Okay, now this was an issue this past holiday, during the holiday concert that Mrs. Alawale hosted. It's an area of distaste for us and the board, and we're looking to change that. So I know Ms. Keene's office and my office are engaged with our architect of record and to replace, and it's actually the smallest unit on this building, on this roof. It's the smallest unit. It's original. It's $12,800. But the gas lines and all of those would have to be connected as well. We would need the architect to assist us, but I just want to put you out there that we're on to that. At Stony Brook School, during the Citizens Advisory, I discussed as part of moving away from possible mold. The large maple tree at Stony Brook will be coming down. That was supposed to be removed on Monday the 25th, but due to the rainstorm, obviously we could not do that. So we're looking at the Thursday or Friday of Teacher Convention Week to remove that tree and purchase there. Next door at PRN, we're looking at tree removal along the exit driveway where our students dismiss. Because on that little hill and knoll, there are no barriers. So from a security standpoint, that's always a concern of mine. But the trees are overarching and hanging. You have no sunlight at all, which then leads to constant runoff during the winter, black ice, no matter how much our custodial maintenance staff take care of it, damage to our concrete, and also possible accidents with our students or staff driving, bus drivers. We want to avoid that. So we're looking to cut back those trees, and we're looking in the front to add an additional sidewalk for our students to exit on. So they could either walk the walk around or they could cut right across in the front of the grass so the grass doesn't become mud. And then mom and dad aren't yelling and screaming when students come home and they walk on the road. And then last but not least, under the A section, you'll see a motion to approve RK Environmental. RK Environmental is the company that conducted all the air quality testing and gel surface testing at Stony Brook, where you received all those alerts from me, unfortunately, in August. The goal is after tonight is that then they will set a schedule to conduct air quality and gel surface testing in all of our facilities, every one of our schools, as well as develop a maintenance plan to assist our custodial maintenance staff going forward to avoid those very things. So it's very deep and detailed, but that's on there tonight. And as parents, as taxpayers, as students that are here, you should know those things, that we're taking those steps in those areas. ROD grant. As you know, last year we applied for the ROD grant for the SDA, School Development Authority approval, and that was for a partial roof replacement here in Kiel School and 2 partial roof replacements at Stony Brook School. If we were successful on a 60-40 split, 60% of the total cost on us as taxpayers, 40% on the state, we would receive somewhere near $1.2 million. Well, preliminary, we received that fund. So it's not official. We're waiting on the State Department to give us the official letter from Trenton. It takes a little bit of time, but then a series of board motions will move forward, and we'll look to move out to bid sometime in the winter and start at the end of the school calendar year. So assuming all of that happens, that's all positive information. The rec program that typically runs at Stony Brook would have to be relocated because there would just be too much construction and too much chance for harm if that were occurring. So that's out there. So that's a positive. That's a very big positive for us. Also, our architect of record conducted a facility assessment, and that's the Cara Rubina, our architect of record. And they met with Mrs. Donaldson and I and Mrs. Thomas earlier this month. That assessment should be complete on all our facilities, like where we are with a checklist, priority checklist, the end of this month, which is the end of this week. That's our hope. Should that occur, we're waiting on their mechanical engineers. Then the architect of record would come out to our October 17th public meeting for a Q&A with the public and share that priority list. So it's not really, and what's positive, even more positive about it, is that it's not about what I may want as a superintendent or ID or any of our elected officials and board members. It's what the architect needs. And this is where you are, kind of like when you purchase your house, but times 5. This is what you need to do. This is the order you need to do them, because if you don't, this is where you'll be. So all that kind of ties together. And again, that information is going to be communicated with our public. So you have that opportunity to engage our architect. Hopefully that's October 17th. Security transportation. Okay, so security is an ongoing, but I'll start right here with Kiel School. We have had our challenges in the first month. Our buses are fully occupied. And as you know, we run between our own buses at Kiel and then also First Student, where we're beholden to their costs and increases. There's no videos on those buses. They're having a hard time finding drivers. It's a multitude of issues and concerns. Nonetheless, Mrs. Alawale shared a very upbeat, positive partnership, informational communication this past Friday to parents about partnering with us and reinforcing at home the importance of bus behavior. We're also looking to hire bus aides because of the numbers on the buses. So anybody here, if you know anyone that's interested, I know that it is it's not a job well sought after, and I know the hours and the time frames are challenging and most people wouldn't want to do it. But please, if you have anybody who's interested, please tell them to go to the website or contact Mrs. Alawale directly or Mr. Shivas, who is here, or even my office. I don't care, but we need bus aides for those buses. And I can't emphasize enough the partnership with parents there. And First Student, some of their issues, again, is also the start times between Kiel and Stony Brook. And that's why I shared from last year till now. We're going to look at our start and end times, and we're going to explore maybe moving some of those back with our young ones, which may impact the middle, not the high school. So that's a work in progress, but again, trying to streamline our efforts. We're going to have a future security committee that will be developed. Anybody in this room is welcome to join. So on November 6th, Mr. Shivas will be hosting a security forum. I encourage you to join. I encourage you to be there. I encourage you to be part of the conversation because we're about to embark on a different journey, one that you haven't been part of before. And I take security very seriously, and there must be an organizational structure to it. And I think the more informed you are and our community is, the better off we'll be. So on November 6th, the World Series should be over. It's a Tuesday night, so it won't be Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. So you'll be in that kind of flux before Thanksgiving. Come on in and join us. And we will, part of that is discuss reunification and what that looks like and what that means. Because that unto itself is a daunting task, and especially because of our location and our own proximity. So, but that's coming. I put that out there to you now. Tonight under personnel, under the B section, you'll see motions for new job descriptions, one being a Director of Education, Informational Systems, Platforms, and Staff Development, and another one for a revision to the K-5 current ELA Fine and Performing Arts to include mathematics. You'll also see a job description for Department Chair, Mathematics 612, much like the road we took earlier last year, at the end of last year, and Mrs. Jexo, who's here in the back, she's now the ELA Fine and Performing Arts Chair of 612. This all falls in line with the district's initiative, more with less, utilizing staff that's currently here, that's been here, that are leaders. Okay, during the interview process, the board was very clear, go find some leaders in our district staff, and I have, I'm proud of that. We're gonna need to find another one. And in part of the Director of Education, Systems, Platforms, and Staff Development, that's in attaining district goals 2 and 4. Because it was made perfectly clear to me as a directive to find that office and steer it. So last school year at the end, you saw Mrs. Trombetta, who is currently our math supervisor, K-12, conduct a presentation to the public. I believe that was in May. And then throughout the course of the summer, and just until last week, you've received a series of emails and communications. Her office has actually been functioning as both. And the reality is, you can't do both and be effective. We need somebody to do one. So what that costs, because that's at the end of the road where we're always at, estimated cost would be $20,000, and that's for the 2 chairs with the slide. So I put that out there for you just to understand in meeting that district goal and then moving things forward. Personnel so far for the school year, right? For 23-24, resignations, retirements, not the RIPs, resignations and retirements. We've replaced 15 positions, all at the entry negotiated step. Okay, we've done our due diligence. No more of the days that we're going to bring folks in here at the top of a teacher guide. Can't do it no more. That might not be popular for me to say, but it's the job and my seat. We repurposed 3 positions. We did not replace 4. And we had another full-time position that through creative scheduling is down to part-time. So when you look at that, and Mrs. Keene and I could agree that the approximate breakage or savings there is a little north of 500,000. We don't agree on the final number, but that's okay. We agree on this number. But some new costs, and I share this with you, and I'm not a CFO, but you need to hear it. There's some other things that happened after the April public budget adoption that weren't planned, because that's life, and that things occur. One of them being the Class 3 officer at the high school. That's the cost, $45,000. The Cisco surveillance year 1 lease purchase, you have the cost of $68,000. The KHS Chromebook year 1 lease purchase of $43,000. Movement on the KEA guide with master's degree plus, and then vacation sick day packages that you buy out with staff as they leave. That's all ordinary business, folks. That cost right there, $281,000. I share that with you so you have an understanding and a deeper scope of what we contend with on a daily basis. It just doesn't go away. It's just not about a budget, and how we're being creative to find solutions from within. Other student activities. Let's talk about an elephant in the room. PRM middle school sports. There are some issues and concerns there. And for those of you who have children in the middle school, or you have children that have participated, from uniforms, cutting students, to maybe sometimes not having enough to field the team, finding refs, parents doing everything they can in the summer to ensure that physicals are completed in a timely manner and that students not being able to participate. None of that's acceptable. So in a to move in the right direction. And Mr. Buser, who's here tonight, his job description is also revised with the caveat to assist the athletic office in all aspects of PR and middle school sports. Because the disconnect between the high school and the middle school and all that communication is that there's absolutely no one in the middle school that's steering. Who better than the assistant principal who knows every student, who knows every parent, who knows all the coaches who are in the buildings and can assist. So while Mr. Buser is not the athletic director, he's going to assist and steer in the middle school to avoid those very things, to hold quarterly meetings with the athletic office and their administrative staff to ensure budgetary-wise we're in a good position, to ensure that uniforms fit our kids, our students, and don't have holes in them. We don't have to be embarrassed in our community, to make sure that enough games are scheduled. I could go on and on. So that elephant in the room, because trust me, I've received those phone calls and emails, and deservedly so. So that's a step in that right direction. And I shared below some of that information. So thank you, Mr. Buser. Again, not that I'm trying to waste your life, dates to remember. And again, like a broken record, I will say time and time again until I'm no longer here. We all have lives, but you have every opportunity to be involved in steering the district. If you don't give your input, doesn't matter if anybody, it's not about agreeing, disagreeing, provide. If you don't, and decisions are made, I'll be the first person to ask you, well, were you part of those meetings? That starts tomorrow night, could be possibly in this room, depending on what happens with the infrastructure at the high school, with strategic planning. We'll have a series of 3 meetings for strategic planning tomorrow night, November 2nd, and January 25th. From there, the board and my office develops an action plan. It's an opportunity. You don't have to have children in the district. So if you have neighbors on the street that are empty nesters, or maybe their children are 30 and at home, but yet, hey, they're still living here, whatever, I don't care. You name the scenario, get involved, have a voice. Come hear what our challenges are and how we, want to navigate that road and be part of that change. So below that, I know Mr. Suda and his staff has done a tremendous job for 8th grade open house in preparation. We have our principal forums, and then, as I previously stated, the security forum with Mr. Shivas on the 6th. At the next 3 public meetings, tentative with our architect of record for October 17th. At the November 14th, it'll be Mrs. Trombetta in the EdTech roadmap. And then in our December meeting is the full sports award recognition with Mr. Doty and transportation proposal from Ms. Woodruff, Sharon Woodruff, who's our bus supervisor. She's been doing a lot of work since it dates back to last summer on cost-effective analysis, pros, cons, what will we need. Again, road mapping. So that'll be as we end the calendar year for 23. That's quite a bit. I just threw a lot at you, but I tried to go through as fast as I could so Ms. Keene doesn't yell at me tomorrow in board office that I went overtime. And now, let me get to why a majority of you are here. And this is the best part of what we do, right? It's recognition, whether it's students or staff. Best part, always is. Sometimes gets lost, but our job is to make sure that doesn't happen. So, I know that Mrs. Portman, to my right, never likes to take credit for anything. Unfortunately, I'm going to throw her into the limelight right now. So, boards of education in the state of New Jersey are governed by New Jersey School Board Association. And they're given guidance on all the issues and topics that exist. And a lot of times there's grants or there's award ceremonies that you can apply. So Mrs. Portman sent Mrs. Donaldson and I a note, I want to say it was in June, which is not really a good month for any of us with all the graduations and the commencement and the end of the year and already planning into the summer. And she offered her services because their New Jersey school boards put out there that if any school district, and there's a little over 600 in the state of New Jersey, had a teacher or a coach that they felt was above and beyond, that fit the criteria, to please submit that application, which was a long application, and meet all of the criteria and aspects. So Mrs. Portman reached out and said, well, what do you think? I said, I think it's a no-brainer. And for me, it's easy. I could say that as both, as the superintendent, and I could say it as a parent. I get to see it from both perspectives. And so Mrs. Portman selected and came to the board with moving forward with our very own Mrs. Laura Chegwidden as a candidate for the Unsung Heroes Award. And I'm not going to sit here and read tonight all the excerpts from all of her students, past and present. Actually, Mrs. Portman had to cut things out because it was just too much, it was overwhelming. And we didn't know how the outcome would be, what was the final result. And then all of a sudden, we received an email with the news that Mrs. Chegwidden, our Mrs. Chegwidden, is a finalist and will be recognized on October 25th, I guess, with the other finalists. We don't know how many there are. They didn't share that information, but that's the week of New Jersey School Board's convention. So the Board of Ed members, myself, Ms. Keene will be down there already. Mrs. Chegwidden will join us, and we're going to find out if she receives this award. But I have to tell you, win, lose, or draw, to get to this point is beyond outstanding. And how lucky we are, not only as a middle school or the high school and the coaching aspect, but as a school community, to have a member of our staff that is recognized to this degree. What was shared and what was written and expressed about Coach Chegwidden, Mrs. Chegwidden, was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And she'll have that for the rest of her days. To me, that's the trophy. But of course, me being me, I want us to win, and I think she wins also. So I'm going to be there holding my breath, because no matter if it's not her, I'm going to maybe have an argument with Josh. But neither here nor there, win, lose, or draw, I wanted to invite Mrs. Chegwidden out tonight. I wanted to honor her with this and share it with our community. And I don't know, Mrs. Chegwidden, I know you're here in the crowd. You want to come on up and you want to say a few words?
Usually I'm up here, obviously, about the kids, and it's so much easier for me to brag about them. I don't really like to talk about I'm extremely uncomfortable. I'm really, really honored. Totally was surprised. I thought I was in trouble when I got called down. I was like, oh, what do I do? I'm getting this going through my head. Like, I don't think I did that. But I thank you to everybody that was involved in making this happen. It was definitely a surprise, so appreciated. Took the time, definitely read the application you put together, and even not knowing who wrote some of the little, snippets of stuff, some I could tell just based on what they wrote, but it meant a lot. A few years back, I had to write something about, teaching and what the success means to you. And honestly, I had said it, it's really, do the kids come back to see you? Do they, as an adult, they say, hey, can you be a job reference? They come for something that they need. And that to me is the proof that what I'm doing works. And honestly, I have had a privilege to coach and teach awesome kids. Like my teams, I always brag that I get the best kids, and sometimes they drive me nuts, but in a good way. And I love them to death. And my daughter's here, my son's at hockey, so we'll have to sneak out in like 15 minutes to get here. But I look to them. They even say, my athletes have heard me say this 20 million times, but my son always says, how's your kids? He knows what everybody's doing and stuff like that. So it's something that, this was, again, such a overwhelming, great surprise. And when they told me, I didn't say, but thank you. It is appreciated. I feel just really honored to be a part of it and to be a part of my athletes' lives and the parents, and meet some good friends along the way. And I'm looking forward. I got another 21 years probably. Maybe 60. So, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me, and I appreciate it. And like I said, win, lose, or draw, it was an honor to even be considered for something like that. So I don't really think of myself as anything like that. So thank you for that honor. Thank you.
Just thank you for everybody coming out tonight to support Mrs. Jed Whitten, and we'll be with you in AC and see where it rolls. And right now, we just take like a 5-minute break, and then Mrs. Thomas will be up to talk curriculum.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye. All right, so 5-minute recess.
It's really riveting stuff. If you'd like to stay, I'd love to have you. KHS testing.
Okay, so welcome. This is Thomas. I'm here to present the results of our spring administration of the NJSLA as we are required to do every year. The results came in over the summer. We have 60 days in order to report to the board, public. Parents, you will receive your individual score reports on your child. Probably, I would say by the end of next week, our staff is working to get those mailings out. They came into district and now our staff is working hard to get those mailings out so that you will receive a copy in the mail, let's hope by the end of next week. So here's some overall results. So on the NJSLA, if you're familiar with the test, the scores range in math and ELA from a 1 to a 5. Please stand up to your spot. So 1, not yet meeting grade level proficiency, up to a 5, which is exceeding grade level proficiency. Okay, so comparison, here's our ELA results. We tested grades 3 through 9. So you'll see, and I'm not gonna go through every score, and this will be posted online as well on our website, so you can go back and take a look at it in a moment. But just a quick overview. So we did a side-by-side comparison. So our state scores are bolded, and then next to it on the right are the state scores. So compared to the state, as you can see throughout, we did surpass state expectations. So you want to see those lower numbers at the level 1 and level 2. We want to be lower than the state because we don't want to achieve the level 1s and level 2s. And then you also see as we go up 3 and on up, that's where we approach greater expectations than the state average. For math, same thing, I compared with the state. And again, in most categories, we met or exceeded the state percentage, the state averages there. And the math, if you take note, there's stars next to the math. I'm gonna explain that in a couple more slides. Math is a little different because we offer higher levels beginning at the middle school level. So those numbers are gonna look a little different. So I'm gonna explain that a little bit further down. For science, science is tested in 5, 8, and 11. So for science, it's not like math and ELA where you're tested on that grade level. Because you remember, as I mentioned in the past, when we talk about curriculum, science is, the standards are banded by grade. So the science test is a comprehensive exam, which is why we tested 5, 8, and 11. So it's a little bit more difficult, I would say, for the students because they're not concentrating just on those grade level standards. It's taking in topics from prior knowledge and putting it together. So the levels are a little different there. They go from a 1 to a 4. And here's our side-by-side comparison, the district with the state. So again, doing well, meeting, if not surpassing the state in some areas, most areas. And here's taking a look at ELA. So this is just our district. So the last column here on the right, I highlighted our percentage of students who are meeting or exceeding expectations for their grade level. So if you just look at that and that snapshot, pretty impressive. Great job to everybody. I mean, this is, to me, when I look at something like that, this is a nice joint effort, right? Kudos to the teachers, kudos to the students who took this seriously, who tried their best on this exam. Kudos to the parents at home because we're a supportive district. We live in a district where our parents are involved in supporting our education, supporting their kids' education, and ensuring that they're successful. and that they achieve. So this, to me, I'm pretty pleased with. Now, are there areas for improvement? Sure, of course there always are in every area, and that's what we're taking a look at. This is important to know. This is one assessment that we're gonna compare with many others to really be able to provide challenges for our students and provide interventions for students as well. So here's our scores for math. Again, the percentage of students meeting or exceeding expectations is all the way on the right, so that's highlighted in green. So in why these numbers here in math, there's a little asterisk there. So in math, as I mentioned before, math is a little different because we do have students in 7th grade that can take Algebra 1. We have students in 8th grade that can be in either Algebra 1 or Geometry. So these numbers, these numbers right here don't truly reflect the whole grade level. So thank you to Mrs. Trombetta who walked in and joined us. She was able to put these numbers together for us to really highlight math specifically. So I think this was really important to showcase because if you look at our overall grade level scores, just like we single out in ELA and the lower grades in math. We single out the grade level achievement. So if we look at grade 7, there's math 7, and then there are students who take algebra. So that's 61% meeting or exceeding grade level expectations, which is a fantastic number. And then again in grade 8, same thing. There are students in grade 8 who either took the math 8, algebra 1, or geometry. So when you look at those grade 8 numbers as a whole, 74% meeting or exceeding expectations. So that's important to note because from the slide before, it looked like it was only at about 50%, but that wasn't the true number. These are the true numbers. So I think it's really nice to showcase that. Thank you for putting that together for us. And then here's our science, again, just district-wide. Students at a level 3 and 4, so that's meeting or advanced proficiency. Those are our science standards. This, I just wanted to compare because I know you're probably thinking, well, how does that fare from last administration? So in 22, this is just a nice visual. So if you look, obviously, the dark purple is your exceeding expectations, meeting expectations is your big chunk in the middle. So we're pretty much falling about similar to where we fell in 2022. There are some areas which may have increased or decreased, but again, that's for us to take a look at. Where, which grade levels, which standards are we looking at? And JSLA plots out which standards are most difficult to least difficult, what standards we need to concentrate more on. So that's really good information for us to be able to move forward. So we also do have to report on subgroups. So if the group is less than 10 students, then we do not report on the subgroup, similar to when I shared results from another test that we did from access testing. So we couldn't share subgroup testing information on that. But here's one subgroup, students with IEPs. Again, to the right are students meeting or exceeding expectations. This is for ELA. There are some, you probably can't see, there's some bolded here. So the ones that I bolded, these are the categories in which our students with IEPs exceeded the state average. So I thought that was really important to point out because for me, as a formal special ed teacher, I like pointing that out because it just, to me, when I'm looking at this at a glance, this shows us that our curriculum, we're meeting their needs, but we're also maintaining the rigor, and that's important for students with IEPs and need accommodations. And in math, same thing. So these are students with IEPs. We didn't have enough data for the geometry and algebra 2. That's why you don't see any values in there. But again, you'll see in many of the components in math where we met or exceeded state expectations. And this is just reporting one of our subgroups for those 2 grade levels in which we had a greater amount of that category. This is subgroup Asian for ELA. Subgroup Asian for math. Again, we were only able to report in 2 categories. subgroup Hispanic or Latino. We were able to report a couple more different grade levels. Again, I'll post this online. And then there's our subgroup Hispanic or Latino for math. We also conduct DLM. So DLM testing is called dynamic learning maps. So again, it's a small group of students. This test is for students who are cognitively impaired and who the state assessment is not appropriate for them to take that state assessment. So they are assessed, but it's in the form of the dynamic learning map. And it shows them and it shows us the tasks that they're learning that they're able to do. And that they've learned those tasks, they've acquired those tasks, and they're able to perform. So that's data for us that we collect. And here's some achievements. So like I mentioned before, we did surpass the state average in meeting expectations in all areas, ELA, math, and science. Our 8th grade math, I was able to point that out, as well as our 7th grade math, but 8th grade math specifically, we exceeded expectations by 37%, which was great to see. We did grow in science, so maybe the science numbers weren't like, they didn't maybe stand out to you as like, oh my gosh, they did do great. And we did grow, and that's what's important, is that we're looking at our data from previous testing, and we did grow. So in every grade level, we grew at the minimum of 8% to the most of 14%. So meeting state expectations or exceeding. Students with IEPs, as I mentioned, meeting expectations in middle school ELA and multiple areas of math. And then what are we doing with this? So what interventions are we providing? So if you've seen my presentation on RTI, which I did at a previous board meeting, I have posted RTI information on our website. There's a Google site under the curriculum tab if you want to view that and look into that a little further. But we are going to come up with a more streamlined process this year for RTI to be able to target students and to be effective with the instruction. So we're going to create action plans with goals. So when a student comes into our program, why are they in the program? What goal do we want them to reach? And we're gonna set that goal, and then we're gonna collect the data along the way so that we can review the data and figure out if they need to remain in that tier, or whether they need less support, or whether they need more support. So it's going to be a constant review. Tier 2 for students, we are continuing with our guided study in K through 8. We continue with lunchtime lab sessions at the high school for students who need extra help. Targeted students will be able to receive targeted instruction before school. Those clubs typically run at the end of October, early November. We'll get those postings out soon, and the principals and the teachers will inform those students who is involved and their parents. And then, as we mentioned, IXL. I've mentioned this before. I just did an ed tech curriculum focus meeting about IXL. This is just another assessment tool that we're using in district to be able to compare data. So we're gonna take IXL data that we're running the diagnostics now. We're getting really valuable data from that. We're gonna compare it with things like NJSLA. We're gonna compare it with classroom benchmarks. We're gonna utilize all these tools to be able to group our students accordingly. So that's what's exciting about all of these new applications that we're bringing in, is to be able to use it for comparative analysis. That's all I have. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is committee reports. So, finance, facilities, and securities, we did meet. A lot of it was discussed by Mr. Mango already. Some of the big items, as he discussed, is we did get the ROD grants, but we have to come up with approximately 1.5 million of our own money to do the 2 routes. We did have some problems with tech infrastructure. I know Jay and Matt and the rest of the tech staff worked all weekend to try to get that up and running. There's still some issues, but we were pretty close to getting almost that first phase done. So hopefully that'll be fixed soon. We talked about security. Mr. Mango talked about the security upgrades that Mr. Shivas gave us, and I know he and Ms. Woodruff are working on trying to iron out some of those issues with the dismissal. I know at Stony Brook, it's limited access. And Kiel, the dismissal at Kiel and the arrival at Stony Brook. The committee did recommend the RK occupational and environmental contract approval from the rest of the board members after we reviewed it at length. We also talked about the tree removals, and we're recommending on the agenda that we go ahead and approve the contract change for Care Plus because we are not going to use the additional person, so that saves us money. It's actually a smaller contract. And we're recommending we purchase the new phonics course and the donation by the Gallagher family. Again, they are donating about $5,000 for the special education transition program. So that's on our agenda and it's recommended by the committee for approval. Mr. Fitzgerald.
So for personnel negotiations, a lot of it was covered already, so I actually just sent out the minutes today, so I apologize if you didn't get a chance to see those. But they're pretty straightforward. We talked about the different job descriptions. Mr. Mango talked about those already, so we covered those. Again, you can click into those on the committee agenda if you want to go into them a little bit more detail. We did take a look at the Care Plus contract as well, so that was discussed in a couple different places. And again, there's a link for that there if you want to get into it a little bit more. And then we also talked a little bit about the Chromebook insurance, which I think all committees talked about as well. So that particular issue. So I think that was pretty straightforward meeting for personnel. So
Yeah.
pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Education is long.
Yeah, it was a great meeting. We covered a lot. I know as Mr. Mango has spoken about, there were some revisions of job descriptions. We talked about some title changes. The PRM SMART presenter needed to reschedule due to scheduling conflict, but we're really excited about her coming and speaking. I'm very excited about the proposal tonight that we're voting on for a ski club at the high school. I know the kids have really wanted that for a long time, and I'm so glad that Mr. Student and Hannah Sapio and Mr. Mango worked to kind of make this happen. We talked about how PRM and KHS, the schedules currently don't sync up and how it's caused some problems and how it makes it a little bit more difficult for transitions. We talked about maybe in the future making those schedules sync up. We talked about the KHS fall drama, the spring musical, Pete the Cat Day, which I'm so excited about. I love Pete the Cat. I know you guys are gonna have fun with that. We also talked about a proposal to do the senior class brunch during the day instead of at night, just because there's so many conflicts with sports and activities. And we think that it would just get better attendance for the kids to do it during the day and bus them there and bus them back. It's kind of like a field trip, but it would be their senior dinner during the day. We also talked about some textbooks that we wanted to approve, 3 really great dual enrollment programs, a world language program that we're excited about, and a pep band assistant. We're creating an assistant to the pep band because they really want a percussion section, which I think will be really great. It will increase the depth of sound, and I think it's great that we have so many kids that want to do it, that it kind of warrants having an assistant there. I think it's really exciting, and it adds so much to the games. I don't know if you've been there, but our pep band's really good. So I'm excited about their future with a little added extra. So that's it.
And that came from stipends not being used for other clubs, so that's not additional costs to the district. So we have some stipends for clubs that aren't being utilized, and so we're able to identify that money, which is great because it's going to be used for something awesome. Jonathan, you guys.
We had a great meeting. We didn't meet.
Not yet. New Jersey School Boards, do you have anything?
I didn't get a chance to go through the school board stuff, so I'll update that next meeting, but I'll send out an email probably over the next week.
Morris County?
They reconvene in October, so first week of October is their next meeting, yes.
Legislative?
There was a couple laws that took effect in the last couple weeks. One, Rod Grant's not a law, but we got Rod Grants, that's awesome, thank you. The governor signed a law directing a Trenton committee to do a study on social media impact on students and student learning. They also mandated suicide prevention training and extended the flexible hires of retirees because there's some pension issues in there. But they said it's tough to get people, even bus aides,
Yeah.
So Yeah, that's it.
Morris County Educational Services.
So I realized that monthly they have board of directors Zoom meetings, and I'm not on the board of directors, so I can't attend those. There's only 2 meetings a year that I can attend, but I have been keeping up with it. They post the agendas, they post the minutes. So the last meeting, which was on September 13th, was a lot of like approving of staff and approval of transportation and different contracts that they had for busing. And then the next meeting that I can actually attend is January 10th, but I'll keep up with the minutes.
Okay, awesome, thanks. Mike, community relations?
No, we haven't done yet.
Okay. K-Care, is anything in there? No.
They're meeting tonight, correct?
Anything with Katie yet?
I was able to connect, she's still waiting for the 501c3 status to come in, so she just checked recently, so just keep up on that. They're kind of in a holding pattern until that.
Okay, I had some community members approach me, so I will get with you.
Okay.
There's a golf tournament that raises money, and I don't know why I don't think I can go out with you, so I will connect you with them.
All right, that'd be great.
Don't let me forget.
Okay.
Okay, petitions and hearings of citizens for agenda items. If you have anything you'd like to address the board, please come on up. Okay,
I do have a couple of,
you have
some public comments that came in. The first one is from a 2019 graduate congratulating Laura Chedwigan on her achievement. If anyone deserves this award, it's you. Thank you for helping me achieve my goals both on the course and on the track, and for shaping me into the athlete I am today. From Angelina. Got another one from Jack Earhart. Congratulations on receiving unsung hero recognition. I cannot think of anyone else more deserving of this award than you. I just want to thank you for everything you have done for me, both on and off the track. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am today. I'm very grateful for all the effort you put into the track program and for all the love and support you have shown me throughout the years. I miss you and cannot wait to come back for a visit. And from Andrew Garcia. Congratulations, coach, on such a well-deserved honor. I'm certain that I am not alone in saying that you left a lasting influence on me as an athlete and a person. I still use your training plans to stay disciplined as I continue running in college. Thank you so much for all you have done for me and so many Kinnelonians. I didn't know that was a word. And then another one, actually from Jake Giannicelli, who couldn't be here tonight. He said he would like to publicly thank Michael Sabo, a Kinnelon graduate, for volunteering to assist the IT team this summer in getting the schools ready for the start of the new year. We were shorthanded this summer and would not have been ready without his assistance. Though the work was not glamorous, he did an excellent job for us, and we greatly appreciate him volunteering his time to the district.
Thank you. That's it. Okay, agenda items, Finance, Facilities, and Security Committee. Agenda items 1 through 12 represent the Finance, Facilities, and Security Committee's recommendations and will be voted upon as approved. We have the Treasurer's report for August, the Secretary's report for the month of August, the budget transfers, the Secretary's certification of budgetary line items, the Board's certification of budgetary line items, the bills list, and we have a resolution for teaching staff, the job expenses and support staff job expenses, which are in attachment A. We have the approval of the September emergency drill report, which is attachment B. To approve the revised contract for Care Plus, as I previously mentioned, to approve the occupational environmental analysis, which is also, some of the costs are in the agenda, and there's the additional hourly rates are in the attachment C. Number 11 is to accept the donation from the Gallagher family for the Special Ed Transition Program. Number 12 is to approve the phonics care program. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I had one question.
Yes, sir.
So it's in the, it's on the environmental analysis table. What's the MQP squared? The other ones are the schools, but I just didn't find that.
Is that the,
Is that in the
that what I'm trying to think for, is that the,
1200.
yeah, is that the,
I just copied the proposal.
Yeah.
It says the company of
4P, is that their pollution identification?
Yeah, that could all be with the pollution, those codes, I mean, I could ask him specific.
I mean, it's not a big number.
Yeah, so there's the 4Ps, it's personnel, pollution, pressure and pathways.
Gotcha.
And one of them is to utilize to determine what the pollutants are in the air. I think that might be what that is.
Yeah, okay.
But I actually don't remember.
Then what I'd like to do when everything's all over, is have Mr. McGinnis, who,
Yes.
is owner and operator, come to a public meeting and actually talk and hold a Q&A as well.
Yeah.
You know, as to what we did, how we're doing it, how we maintain it, we could budget appropriately because air scrubbers and you know, ventilation systems are not cheap. So, we'll do that as well.
Yeah. maybe we
Sometime
can.
like after reorg, February, maybe March.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. I like that idea, Robert. Yeah, so there was hourly rates that are in there too, based on the qualifications of the people for them to go in. This was just to do the assessment per each team to do that 4P thing that I was talking about, because that does involve training as well, which I thought was excellent. For personnel too, like how you notice whether or not things are working. Okay, any other questions?
For number 13, under that, which, SARS-CoV assessment and then plan,
Go to number,
on that rate sheet, that. Is it in the attachment?
on the attachment.
At the bottom.
Okay.
I'm just wondering what.
So say for take out the first one, and then
Jen, what attachment?
it's the proposal.
It's the proposal, so
So what's your question?
I'm just wondering what that assessment is.
Like just in the functioning of our unit ventilators, what steps are we taking to ensure that all pathogens are being dealt with effectively? That's all. And I know that we did a lot of that during the process as far as unit ventilators back in 21 or 20 or what have you, with UV lighting and all those systems.
Right. I'm just, like, is it something that's part of the package that can be taken in or out? Because I don't know if we really need to spend money to test.
I think this is what we're, I think,
Is this just like
That's
their companies?
This
Yeah,
is what,
and
yeah,
they
this is
were
what
like
they
a-
do and then
Okay,
it's their
like a
checklist.
menu.
Yep.
And then we got the hourly rate for the different pieces of it, doesn't say.
Thank you.
And John, as I was looking at that,
Yes.
and 3P2 is mold,
Measure,
moisture management and prevention programs.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
cool.
Pollute.
I just happened to come across that. That's all.
Yes, yeah. I saw that too. Oh, it's right there. Okay, anybody have any other questions for finance? Any other discussion on that? No? You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Ms. Key, will you pull the board, please?
Mr. Petroselli,
Yes.
Mrs. Portman,
Yes.
Mrs. Perrella,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
and Mrs. Thompson.
Yes. Mr. Petroselli.
For the Personnel and Negotiations Committee, agenda items number 1 through 14 represent our recommendations. They'll be voted upon as a group. Number 1 is the resignations, retirements, and leaves of absences. 4 and 5 were added today on the new version from the office, so if you didn't see that, 4 and 5 are new adds there. Number 2 is not changed, those are the appointments for the 23-24 school year in that table, it's been out last week. Number 3 is the approval of the paraprofessionals in attachment A. Number 4 is the series of payments that you see in the table there for the 23-24 school year. That goes from page 6 on to page 7. Number 5 is the approval of the staff members for a revised combined class block, that's attachment B. Number 6 is revised 6-period class, that's attachment C. And number 7 is what we were talking about earlier, the job descriptions that we talked about during committee meetings that are getting approved. Number 8 is, those are new job descriptions. Number 8 is the revised job descriptions. So that was all
was one discussion, but two separate items that were included. Number 9 is the job title change that we talked about for the Director of Education Informational Systems, Platforms, and Staff Development. 10 is the Department Chair of ELA, Mathematics, Fine and Performing Arts for K-5. 11 is the 11 and 12 are the co-curricular lists, one for Stony Brook, one for KHS. 13 is the substitutes that you see listed there in the table, and then 14 is the home instructors. So I would ask for a motion to approve 1 through 4.
Motion. Second. Discussion? Discussion? Question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think I already know the answer. Mrs. Tadros, you're in the back?
Yes.
Hi, Mrs. Trombetta, you got in here. It's good. Are you both ready? I think I know the answer. Because you know what happens starting tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much, both of you. Thank you to the board.
All right, any others? Okay, please give me one.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Farrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Portman,
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli.
Yes.
And Mrs. Donaldson.
Yes. Education student please.
Okay, agenda items 1 through 12 will be voted upon as a group. Number 1, the out-of-district placements outlined in attachment A. Number 2, field trips for the 2023-2024 school year. Number 3, we approve the 9:30 late opening for seniors to accommodate the PSATs on 10/11. Number 4, we approve the new textbooks at KHS. Number 5, we approve the dual enrollment programs listed below. Number 6, we approve the dual enrollment courses that are listed below. Number 7, we approve the following clinical interns listed below. Number 8, we approve a reading specialist practicum. Number 9, we approve the curriculum for the education and student activities in attachment B. Number 10, we approve the technology subscription and applications outlined in attachment C. Number 11, we approve the foreign language for kids, FL4K, for Stony Brook. Number 12, we approve the ski and snowboard club.
Have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have another question, sorry.
That's okay.
Delayed opening for PSATs, is it just the seniors, or do the freshmen get a delayed opening too?
Yeah, is who gets the delayed opening?
Just the seniors.
Just the seniors,
Just the
okay.
You know, they have to wait till the senior year, like lunch break. They're freshmen, they're at the bottom now.
They can try to say.
Sophomores and juniors are testing. Seniors get to come and wait. Freshmen
We'll have class.
have to discuss.
Listen, this is in lieu of, if I can take it back old school, freshman Friday. That doesn't exist anymore. Kid took over, there's no more freshman Friday, so
Gotcha, okay.
freshmen have to come in and we do.
All right.
All right, no other discussion?
Mr. Petroselli.
Yes.
Mrs. Portman.
Yes.
Mrs. Farrell,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard.
Yes.
Mr. Eisenmaker.
Yes.
Mrs. Donaldson.
Yes. Policy.
Yeah, the freshmen have to wear their ID cards.
Yes.
So we have 2 items on the agenda for the policy committee's recommendation. The first is policy 5517, second reading for school district issued student identification cards. There was one comment after first reading, and it was just that the elementary students may be a little young. I don't remember if it was the Citizens Advisory Committee or earlier tonight at this meeting, but there's some leeway there for
That
the
was tonight we talked about.
younger ones.
Or maybe it's just in school and then on trips.
And second, just the HIB report for first reading through September 25th.
Can I follow up on that, Mr. Ray? We have no hit this month, so it's first reading on nothing. So it's great. We do need the motion per Trenton. So we'll have the motion and we'll be happy with it.
Or Trent, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
No,
Second.
Sorry,
Guys,
I did
sorry,
wanna ask for clarification then, so the leeway for the younger schools, so Stony Brook, as far as the years with the ID.
That would be next year.
Okay, so this is just
24,
for
25.
the high school then,
No, right now this is 6 through 12.
6 through 12.
But will we approve the K-12 but the elementaries won't go into effect till next year. And then after hearing some conversations, an olive branch would be having our kids in K-5 wear them in school, and at the end of the day, take them off. And then if they go on class trips, that they would have them. But that's not until next year.
That policy would be amended, then this is just for 6 through 12.
That reads K-12.
Oh, it does.
But the K-5 is not enacted right now. That's next year.
Thank you.
You got it.
This keeps holding.
It's okay for us to not always agree at the table. It's good. That's good.
I like
Do you want to-
very defined,
It is.
very, so.
Can always-
We pull, please.
Mr. Eisenmaker,
Yes.
Mrs. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Myers,
Yes.
Mrs. Perrella,
Yes.
Mrs. Boardman,
Yes.
Mr. Petroselli.
Yes.
And Mrs. Donaldson.
Yes. Committee of the whole, any business for committee of the whole? Okay, unfinished business. Anybody have any unfinished? No. Okay, new business? Nope. All right, correspondence? We have a thank you letter. There was another thank you card.
Oh, thank you, card for,
That was the last one she read.
That's the last one. No, that was.
no, this is a thank you card, an actual card I got from the student thanking us for the scholarship.
Oh, okay, great. All right, petitions and hearings of citizens for anything you want, non-agenda. Come on up, tell us how great we are.
That's what I'm about to
I just wanted to say thank you for all of the stuff you've approved over the last few months, our technology upgrades, although a little bit of a hiccup today, I know we'll be up and running. Those were in dire need. And we, on behalf of the association, we thank you for your support and everything that you're saying yes to. And Mr. Mongo will say yes to eventually. No, we really appreciate you. Thank you very much for all you do.
Thank you. Okay, board member comments? I don't want to pick, someone go first.
As a non-voting member, could I just put something to the?
I wish you would, please.
I just want everybody to know, whether they're at home or if they watch this later or if you're here, that no, the board and specifically President Mrs. Donaldson did not negotiate that my suits are part of my contract. My contract can be found online on the district website under negotiated agreements. I just want to put that out there because I know it's floating in our community. I want folks to know. Thank you. All you have to do is call me or look on the website. You'll see that suits are not negotiated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for this comment. Dana?
I don't, I grew up there, a great school year start, and I'm thrilled to be working with all of you, so, go Colts, I've been enjoying football games, I see all of you there, you know, my youngest is playing, and I enjoy going to, I do love the pep band, I was very excited about that, and I think that between the cheerleaders, and obviously all of the football sports are great, but when you have the band at the football game, so maybe the band, you know, just a suggestion going forward, big games with other sports as well. I think it would be nice. And maybe they do already. I'm not sure. A big hockey game, a big, you know, a real rivalry game, basketball, I think it would be amazing. So just a thought. Their talent, and I think they should be showcased. So
Big one this Friday night too. For the community.
Yeah, bigger too. All right, over here, Carl.
All right, so I'll keep it really short. You know, it's a great start to the year. You know, I hope everyone has an excellent school year. I will say that the highlight so far was the parachuters jumping out.
That was pretty cool.
I took my kids there. My son's first question is, after I explained the parachuters are going to jump out of a helicopter, he said, "Is Mr. Mango going to jump?"
Next year.
So next year, you know.
Kelly?
I just wanted to say that this was a fantastic September rollout. Like, I just feel like every school started safe and enthusiastic and happy. And I just wanted to thank the principals, the assistant principals, and all of the teachers, because your enthusiasm is contagious. And I feel like the kids all had a really great September. September Septembers are not always as seamless as this one, and I appreciated it. It's been a wonderful month. We're not on wood now. I also wanted to congratulate Laura Chegwin, and I wanted to say, you know, unsung heroes are recognized because people speak out for them. So Jen, thank you for doing that for our coach and for our district. You know, positive press is good for everybody. I just wanted to say this Friday night is senior night for the pep band, for the cheerleaders, for the football players. It's gonna be a great night. Hopefully everybody can come out for Friday Night Lights at 7. I love the pep band expanding farther because they're really talented and I think they add a lot to the game. So I think if they wanted to do soccer or lacrosse, like basketball, whatever, I think it would be fantastic. So thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Okay, Jen. I think this Friday is the tailgate also.
Yes.
So,
Yes, it's the tailgate for all the clubs.
so the whole town is welcome. The different clubs and different sports create tailgate tables, and it's really nice to see kind of their creativity and have some different food and then go right into the football game. So it's a really nice school and community event if people can attend. Thank you to the Gallagher family for their nice donation. And I echo Kelly, I want to thank the administration and all the teachers for a really great start to the school year. I've heard from many families about how well organized it seems, how, you know, positive and just good, you know, good teaching that seems to be going on. And it takes a lot of work to do that. And so we appreciate it all.
Jonathan?
Is K-Fest this weekend?
No,
No, that's not
30th.
event.
Next week,
30th.
sorry.
Okay, no, it's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, it's a 3.
We're not running, so.
No.
It doesn't.
I'm in Duncan. And I have another question, I know this is my comment time, but I had another question. Strategic planning is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Is that one of those that we all have to be at, or that we only have 3 at?
No, you could have a quorum.
No, we can all be there.
Okay, just making sure.
It's a public meeting. Charlene will be there. We like a lot of people from the public to come to.
Yeah,
Anything?
so strategic planning tomorrow at 7, and thank you everybody for.
Still here,
holding
Peter.
it.
Like,
So welcome, Sarah. You did a very nice job for your first meeting, so welcome to the board. I'll just say congrats to Coach Cheggs again for her awarding. You know, she's not here anymore, but you know, I know my sons enjoy being part of the track team. I know we have multiple people here on the track team, so you know she does a lot. So congratulations to her. So with the assistant pep band person, does that mean I have to listen to more trumpet and trombone playing in my house? Is that what that means? Okay, but I'll echo what everybody said. Thank you to the teachers and the administrators for a great start to the year. Thank you, Mrs. Thomas, for the presentation. I thought that was really good. I'm disappointed not more people stayed for it, but that's okay. But I thought it was great. So that was good, and I'll just say nice job with back to school night at the high school. I was at that back to school night, so thank you to the high school folks for a good back to school night. I enjoyed it very much. It was a good night. So thank you, everyone.
well, I'm excited that all the kindergartners were together for a full day in one building. That must have been something to see. So that's a nice start, and I haven't heard anything negative at all. In fact, my kids have had a great experience. So I know it was a lot of work this summer. We did the handbooks, and we used to have lanyards and tech upgrades, and I know we were busy, so it shows in the rollout because it was very smooth for us. For me personally, a very smooth September, and my kids were actually remarkably happy Friday, and not because it was Friday, but just because they had had a good week. So whatever you guys are doing, keep it up because they were smiling. And I just once again echo everybody else's thanks, but the people up here, I really appreciate their hard work and the way we all share and get along and just talk to each other all the time. I really appreciate everybody and communicating with me. You guys are doing a great job, and you too, Mr. Mungo. So I hope to see some of you Friday, maybe Saturday. I will be at the beer tent for KHS. That's tucked into one of those volunteer committee. But yeah, great. Anybody? That's it. Motion to adjourn.
Motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.